Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, and we will attempt to share the screen here. Share December 14th. There we go. That's good. Move that over there. Jump down. Huh? So let's see what we have. First topic is answering a question. Could you please say more about contentment and how it is achieved? So we're starting with our definition of contentment from our character building workbook. It's a good place. The workbook gives this definition. Contentment means being satisfied with the circumstances of one's life, relationships, and possessions. I practice it by not wanting more or wishing my life was different. Its opposite is dissatisfaction. Dictionary.com includes in the definition of contentment that discontentment equals dissatisfaction. Very good point. English Sanskrit Dictionary tells us contentment in Sanskrit is santosha. So that's a word you hear a lot in Tamil conversation, santosham, santosham. University of Madras Tamil Lexicon defines santosham as pleasure, delight, satisfaction. That's the one that we're relating to, gratification. And then we look at tirupti, satisfaction. All four sources clearly agree that contentment means satisfaction and discontentment means dissatisfaction. Okay, everybody agrees. Gurudeva talked about how contentment applies to different aspects of our life. Maintaining joy and serenity in life means being content with your surroundings, be they meager or lavish. Be content with your money, be it a small amount or a large amount. Be content with your health. Bear up under ailments and be thankful that they are not worse than they are. Protect your health if it is good. It is a valuable treasure. Be content with your friends. Basically, contentment, santosha, is freedom from desire gained by redirecting the forces of desire and making a beautiful life within what one already has in life. Comparing the actions of one who is content to one who is dissatisfied. First situation, associating with a loved one, you, contentment. Enjoy the way they relate to you and are glad they are part of your life. Dissatisfaction, perpetually complain that they are not affectionate enough. Second situation, reflecting on the life of wealthier people, you, contentment. Reaffirm the spiritual progress is more important than wealth. Dissatisfaction, feel unfulfilled and frustrated. Third situation, when record snow falls in your town, you, contentment, revel in the winter beauty and help children build a snowman. Dissatisfaction, moan and groan each day until spring arrives. Oh, building snowman doesn't happen very often in Singapore. But it's a lot of fun for kids to build snowmen. Beautiful summary of contentment by Gurudeva. Contentment is working within your means with what is available to you, living within your income, being grateful for what you have and not unhappy over what you lack. The key point is, if we are dissatisfied with current conditions, such as a low income, and manage to increase it, say 20%, we will soon become dissatisfied with the new income level, because that is the nature of desire. Tirukkural gives a very wise statement. It is the nature of desire never to be fulfilled, but he who utterly gives it up is eternally fulfilled at that very moment. Back to Gurudeva's statement on desire. Basically, contentment, santosha, is freedom from desire gained by redirecting the forces of desire and making a beautiful life within what one already has in life. The rich seeking more riches are not content. The famous seeking more fame are not content. The learned seeking more knowledge are not content. Being content with what you have does not mean you cannot discriminate and seek to progress in life. It doesn't mean you should not use your willpower and fulfill your plans. It does mean you should not become upset while you are striving toward your goals, frustrated or unhappy if you do not get what you want. The best striving is to keep pushing along the natural unfoldment of positive trends and events in your life, your family life, and your business. An example, a young man is passed over at work for a promotion that he thought was a certainty. His first reaction is to feel discouraged and sad, but after a few days, he pulls himself out of his mood by the decision to accept his current employment circumstances and be happy within them, but also to continue to strive for the desired promotion. Another approach is that we can look at contentment, being satisfied, as a state of mind that we can claim. This is the way it is looked at from the Shum perspective. There is a series in Shum that relates to contentment. It starts with Ishum, a contented fish, aquatic animal. Fish, when they're doing certain things, they just look really contented. Haishum, security, a feeling of security, third dimensional. Bihaishum, fourth dimensional, feeling of completeness and contentment under all circumstances, used as a greeting. Bihaishum, fifth dimensional, the sadhana bringing forth from within oneself joy and happiness under all circumstances. Great joy is found when this tantra is mastered. So if we learn to live in fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness, then we're always content. That's what the Shum words are telling us. In summary, learning to be content all the time is a two-step process. First, we need to realize that the world only offers a temporary contentment and that permanent contentment is within us, in the soul nature. Second, we need to learn how to move awareness into that fourth dimensional contentment. This can be done through meditation, temple worship, or seva. So that's our first question. What does gold mean or represent? Because we always see some kind of gold jewelry or crown in representations of Hindu gods. So why don't you think about that? What does gold mean or represent? So, Lemurian scrolls gives us some insights. Piles of gold and silver brought by the inhabitants of the surrounding communities to the Lemurian monasteries served as destination markers for the Devas and Mahadevas, as these glowing substances were easily visible from the inner worlds. So, gold and silver can be seen from the inner worlds. Pieces of gold placed together become very powerful conductors if unmoved. When moved to another place, much power is lost, for the inner plane beings lose track and connection with the conductor. In a Hindu temple, gold is placed under a temple before the foundation is built. Lots of gold under Iravan. It was put there during what's called the Pancha Silanyasa ceremony. It is also placed under shrines before the deity is installed. So we've also done that. So there's lots of gold under the temple and under the Mahalingeshwara shrine in Iravan temple as an example. This is gold that does not move. So it can't move because it's under everything. So that's the kind of gold that the inner plane beings can work with. It's totally stationary, never going to move. So it can be seen from the inner worlds. That's the basic idea. And our second topic, as usual, is Pastor Shiva. So how can we see God? That's where we are, and I'm still there. So there's about 3 or 4 ways in my pub desk, based on Gurudeva's teachings, how we can see God. See if you can think of a couple of them before I give the answer. Okay, let's see what we say here. Should have clicked that slide first. So, Saivism teaches us that God Shiva is knowable and we can experience him right here and now. It is not just a matter of faith. Yogaswami declared, see God in everything. You are in God. God is within you. God is in everyone. See him there. It takes much meditation to find God Shiva in all things, through all things. Gurudeva taught, he is there as the soul of each soul. You can open your inner eye and see him in others, see him in the world as the world. Perhaps the easiest place to start seeing God is in great religious teachers. So that's the simplest answer. We feel a spiritual aura about them that is uplifting. We see a light in their eyes that we do not see in others. The mere sound of their words encourages us to live a more spiritual life. That's the first way. Second way, look deeply into the eyes of another person, look beyond the personality, go deeper than his or her intellect, and see the pure life energy, which is God. This practice does not stop with people, but can also include seeing the life energy in trees, birds, and animals. Doing this, you discover that God is our life. God is the life in all beings. Becoming aware of this life energy in all that lives is becoming aware of God's presence. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad explains, he who knows God as the life of life, the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, he indeed comprehends fully the cause of all causes. So in Path to Shiva, we don't bring in Tamil script and words. But the Tamil word, of course, is Uir Kuyir. God is the life of life. meaning God is the life and the soul. Or even when the physical body doesn't have life, our soul still has life. Third place to look for God is in the Hindu temple. In powerful temples, you can sense the deity's presence in the enshrined murti, and even catch a glimpse of his divine form during the puja. This is done with your third eye, your inner eye of divine sight. Many people, not just saints and sages, have seen God in such mystical visions. Very nice. Third topic. Our new one, verses from Patanjali's Yogasutras. First chapter. Verse 2. This is a really important verse. In English, yoga is the restraint of mental activities. Well, normally we're not looking at the Sanskrit, but since this is such an important verse, Sanskrit, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So yoga, nirodha, restraint, chitta, of the mind, and vritti, activities. So chitta vritti, mental activities, to restrain them is yoga. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. Commentary, which means me, when it has commentary like that. Our minds are constantly engaged in one type of activity or another. Whether awake or sleeping, we are remembering events from the past, thinking about current tasks, or theorizing about future events. Or we are experiencing moods and emotions. The practices of yoga enable us to silence these mental activities, which can be thought of as movements or fluctuations. Oh, it's if you imagine a body of water, like on Kauai here, the weather comes from different sides of the island. So the side of the island where the weather is coming from, there's lots of waves. And then the side of the island that is opposite to that is totally calm. The ocean is totally calm. So that's what we're trying for. We want to take an ocean that has lots of waves and make it totally calm. Gurudeva, as you sit to meditate, awareness may wander into past memories or future happenings. It may be distracted by the senses, by a sound, or by a feeling of discomfort in the body. This is natural in the early stages. Gently bring awareness back to your point of concentration. Don't criticize awareness for wandering, for that is yet another distraction. Distractions will disappear if you become intensely interested and involved in your meditation. So that's a key. It's really hard to meditate on something you're not interested in. It's much, much easier, particularly in the beginning stages, to choose a subject or an object that you really enjoy. In such a state, you won't even feel the physical body. To become the ruler of the mind is the goal. So that's what's in the book. And this little graphic means it's additional. Some additional thoughts. The type of restraint, as explained by Paramaguru Yogaswami. Yogaswami uses the Tamil word summa. Summa is defined as silently, quietly, in perfect peace and rest. Thus the statement, Summa Iru, means be silent, quiet, in perfect peace and rest. Is one of Yogaswami's Mahavakya, great sayings. Here are two quotes using it from words of our master. The Atma is Summa. Movement is for the body and mind. Now we don't control the mind, we remain summa with a controlled mind. What do you think is the meaning of Yogaswami's two statements? Summa iru. Controlling the mind implies you are making a conscious effort to do so. The goal is to have a quiet mind without needing to make any effort to control it. If we go far enough, if we go in far enough, we end up in an area of the mind that is always quiet, the Atma. So that's the goal. In other words, in one of my presentations, I have a dog, energetic dog on a leash, and the owner is trying very hard to control the dog on the leash. So that's what we don't want for the mind. Thoughts are all over the place. We're just totally stressed out trying to quiet them. No, we want to move awareness to the area of the mind that's already quiet. That's what we're trying for. So thank you very much. Interesting. Yeah, it's crossed out there.